Hey everybody, happy Thursday. Today is November the 5th, and we are working on multiplication. We're learning to relate repeated addition to multiplication. We're learning this because an equal number of items in groups represents multiplication, even though we can use repeated addition to help us. You're going to know that you're successful when you persevere through problems even when they're hard. Um, and that you can use repeated addition on a number or add equal groups of rows or columns to help you solve multiplication problems. So today we're going to jump right in, just like we did yesterday. We started talking about how we could use repeated addition. And one of the questions I asked in yesterday's video was, can we use multiplication when the groups have different amounts in them? And I had some varying answers there. But for us today, we've got to focus on if we're going to use multiplication, and when we say the word repeat, it means I'm saying it over and over, or it's the same number repeating over and over. So for that particular situation, we would need to have the same number repeated so that we could use multiplication to help us to solve that problem. So let's jump into the first problem. And what I want you to do is I want you to just look at the picture that I drew, and I want you to tell me what addition problem you see. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about that. So I hope you see that there's 5 in this group and 5 in this group. So if I'm going to be adding, I'm going to add 5 hearts plus 5 hearts. So for this particular problem, I would write 5 plus 5. And let me go ahead and insert that so that you can see it. I'm going to put a 5 underneath here. And I'm going to make those just a little bit bigger so you can actually see them. So I have 5 here, and I also have 5 over here. Now, if I want to know the total of the number of hearts that I see, I'm going to add 5 plus 5. So in each circle, we have 5 dots. So we're adding the same number twice, 5 plus 5. This is called repeated addition because we're adding the same number, and I'm going to emphasize the word same number. And we have or equal groups repeatedly. So in this particular case, I have 2 groups of 5. I have 2 groups. So here's 1, 2, and in each group I have 5. So it's going to equal 5 plus 5 to get an answer here. Now, remember yesterday, if you watched my video, I said that we could go ahead and do 5 plus 5, or if I couldn't do the addition, I could just count how many hearts there are to get the total. So in this particular problem, we could also count, but we all know, because we can count by our 5s, that 5 plus 5 equals 10. Multiplication is going to be another way for us to do this problem. Because we have equal groups, I can actually write a multiplication sentence to represent the same picture. What do you think would be a good multiplication sentence for this problem? I want you to think about what we just saw, what we just said that we saw. What are our eyes seeing? So here we're seeing 2 groups, 1, 2, and in each group, I'm seeing how many hearts? Yes, I'm seeing 5. So I've got 2 groups, and I'm going to multiply that times 5 because there's 5 in each group. Now, I know, based on what we just did with our repeated addition here, 5 plus 5 is the same thing as 2 times 5 because I have 2 groups of 5. And I know that that equals 10. So I can actually write a repeated addition sentence that will match a multiplication sentence to get the exact same answer. Oops. Okay, our next problem is about chocolate chip cookies, which I love. So someone made chocolate chip cookies with 3 chocolate chips in each. In this problem, we need to add the number 3 because we want to know how many chocolate chips are in all the cookies. So we're going to add the number 3. So I'm going to go ahead and put underneath each picture the number 3. Now my question to you is, if all the cookies have 3 chocolate chips, how many times am I going to have to write the 3? So think about that just a second. How many times do I need to write the number 3 if I'm going to be writing a repeated addition sentence? So I have one cookie with 3, and in each plate I have 2 cookies. So how many times am I going to need to write the number 3 in a repeated addition sentence? So if I have 3 here and 3 here, that's going to be 3 plus 3. And then I have 3 in each of these cookies here, so I'm going to do plus 3. And then I have the last cookie in this plate, which is also going to be plus 3. Now, we have learned how to skip count by using numbers like 2, 5, 10. Those were easy for us to learn. Some of you already know how to skip count by 3, so let's go ahead and do that. We know that 3 plus 3 is 6. Plus 3 more is 9, plus 3 more is 12. So in these 4 cookies, there are a total of 12 chocolate chips. Oops. So if we have 12 chocolate chips, now I want you to think about how could we write a multiplication problem to represent this particular cookie problem. So let's think about how many groups we have. What's going to represent the groups? What number represents the groups? I'm thinking I hear some of you saying 4. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 cookies. So that would be 4 groups. And how many chocolate chips are in each group? So if I'm looking at this group here, how many chocolate chips do I see? I see 3, which is represented by my 3's here. I have 3 in each one, so I want to know what 4 groups of 3 equals. So I have 4 groups of 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, and in each one of the groups I have 3. So I have 4 groups of 3, which also equals 12 because I showed that here with this repeated addition. I wrote 3 4 times because this is my groups, and in each group I have 3. Okay, on our last problem here, I want you to think about how we could come up with an addition expression to help us with this problem. What are we noticing? What do you think you're seeing here? First of all, we got to decide how many groups there are, and then how many would be in each group. So to write an addition expression, I'm going to need to figure out how many times I need to write a number repeated, and then what number am I writing that's going to be repeated each time. I'm going to go ahead and move this down a little bit so I can start typing it in. So I'm going to look at how many trucks there are. That's how many groups I have. So how many trucks do you see in this picture? So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 groups, and I want to know how many pumpkins are in each group. So I'm going to look up here on this truck, and I'm going to see that there are 3 pumpkins on each truck. So I have 5 groups of 3. I'm going to need to write an addition sentence, a repeated addition sentence that is going to match this problem. So in this case, I'm going to be writing 3 5 times. So I'm going to write 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. And in this particular case, if I am not sure what 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals, I can just simply come up here and count how many pumpkins are on the truck. So I've got 3, I'm going to skip count, 6, 9, 12, 15. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 15. Now, how can I write an addition or a multiplication sentence? I'm sorry, a multiplication sentence to match this problem. So if I'm looking at this, I need to look at how many groups I have. So remember, the truck represents how many groups? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 groups of, and then I'm going to be looking how many items are in each group. So I have 1, 2, 3. So I have 5 groups of 3. I can actually translate that now into a multiplication sentence where I have 5 times 4, which gives me, I'm sorry, 5 times 3 is our problem. 5 times 3 equals 20. All right, so what I want you to do today is you're going to complete the assignment. You're always going to complete the problem of the day. You're going to complete any classwork that I assign. And then what I want you to do when you get ready to turn in your work that you are finished with all of the assignments, I want you to tell me what you like best when we're doing these type of multiplication problems. Do you like the repeated addition sentence? Is that easier for you? Do you like writing it in groups of, or do you like to go ahead and just write it as a multiplication sentence and figure out how to get your answer? So let me know which way is making more sense to you, as a repeated addition sentence that you can look at it and know that you're writing a addition sentence that represents the multiplication that we have. But go ahead and just make a comment quickly in the lesson work where you turn it into the private comments. I hope everybody has a great day, and I'll see you soon.